Crabs Lacrosse MIAA Game of the Week. Today's matchup features two teams that are very familiar with one another. The Cardinals of Calvert Hall have traveled across town to take on the Lakers of Boys Latin. I'm Chris Gunkel. Joining me today with the broadcast is someone who is very familiar with this matchup, legendary Boys Latin coach Bob Shriver. Coach, what can we anticipate today?
Well, today Calvert Hall wants to play fast, hard, a very aggressive 10-man ride, push it all over the field. Boys Latin on the other end is going to try to slow the tempo down to something that'll work a little bit better for them.
And there's great players, as always, all over the field. Who are we taking a keen look at for Calvert Hall?
Well, Calvert Hall, number 3, Jack Williams, senior captain, Yale commit, is one of their outstanding midfielders. As the oldest middie playing for them today, they follow his leadership.
And how about for Boys Latin?
Boys Latin, long stick middie, number 44, Bryce Barrett, a Maryland commit. He's tasked with trying to slow some of these Calvert Hall midfielders down. And
that'll be a big task. There's great talent all over the field. We anticipate another legendary matchup today. Please stay tuned. We'll be back with starting lineups in just a moment.
Yeah, that was much.
The 2026 MIAA Lacrosse Game of the Week is presented by Crabs Lacrosse, Baltimore Crabs, locally grown, nationally known. The Rogers Knapp Group of Merrill Lynch Wealth Management, personalized strategies for your long-term goals. Kelly Benefits, the official benefits partner of the MIAA Championships. Toyota, the official non-luxury vehicle of the MIAA Championships. Let's go places. CFG Bank, revolutionizing the banking experience. 5 Star, connecting creators, athletes, and the best sports highlights. And Lido Pizza, the preferred pizza of the MIAA.
All right, we're coming to you live from J. Duncan Smith Field on the campus of Boys Latin as we get set for this critical MIAA matchup as the Cardinals are getting ready to take on the Lakers of Boys Latin. Coach, you commented that this is one of the best places, if not the best place, to see a high school lacrosse game, and I would agree with you. Seeing with the fans that are here today, with this weather, beautiful setting for a game of lacrosse.
Trees blooming and leaves on them now. It's just it's really nice, and you're right on top of the action. This is Calvert Hall's starting lineup. Caleb Kelly, coach is Brian Kelly's son. We mentioned Jack Williams in the outset. Cole Hoddle is their best defenseman. Nick Nevin, a junior goalie, he's having a really good year.
Yeah, I want to mention that these starting lineups are brought to us by Toyota. And Coach, what do we have for the Lakers of Boys Latin?
Well, we'll start with on offense, TJ Shaw. He's a junior headed to Georgetown. He's Boys Latin's leading scorer. In the middle of the field, 66, Danny Fick kind of is a party starter offensively. And Bryce Barrett and Ryan Whitman are veteran defensemen, and they really played very well. Senior Blake Connor in the goal. Yeah,
you had mentioned Bryce Barrett. Headed to the University of Maryland, known as not only one of the best defenders in the country, but one of the toughest, particularly on ground balls.
Yeah, he's really good off the ground. Not a very big guy. I'll bet Bryce doesn't weigh 160. He's got length, but he's just not that thick.
Getting set here for the opening faceoff for Calvert Hall. It's going to be number 24, Dorian Jackson. And as a reminder, this first faceoff is brought to us by the Rogers Knapp Group of Merrill Lynch. Got Barrett on one wing, Coach. We've mentioned a lot about him. And as we've discussed before, not only have faceoffs become very important in the game, but wing play has started to really play a prominent role in the outcomes of these games.
Yeah. Calvert Hall, if they have a weakness, and it's never a weakness, but they're not nearly as skilled facing off as they have been. Ben Como graduated last year, is having a really good freshman year at Yale University, and so they're kind of starting over there, but they're so good off the ground.
So if you see a shot there by Joey Keller, the junior headed to Loyola University. Coach, best way to describe Boys Latin's offense? What do they like to do? What are their tendencies?
Well, they really don't have any dominant offensive player in terms of ability to get to the goal on a regular basis. So a lot of what you see is ball movement and body movement.
As we see a shot there on a cut. Nice save there by Nevin. Picked up cleanly by Calvert Hall as they attempt to clear.
And this is something that Calvert Hall is incredibly good at. Their short stick defensive middies are talented. They love to push the ball offensively. And when they settle in and start playing offense, they're very midfield driven. They start their offense from the middle of the field.
In speaking to Coach Kelly before this game, you commented that you thought their short stick D middies are the best in the MIAA, or at least one of the top 2 or 3.
Yeah, great tandem.
As we see a shot there right away coming from Jack Williams, one of the players to watch. And Calvert Hall is going to get settled here on offense. And, Coach, best way to describe Calvert Hall's offense, tendencies, things that they like to do?
Well, they attack from, I mentioned, they attack from the middle of the field, and there is Schoonmaker, who's a natural lefty. Last time I watched them play Severn the other day, he had 4 goals, and that one was right-handed, stuck it right up in the corner. Beautiful.
Yeah. As we see here on the replay, Coach Schoonmaker starts up top. Slide doesn't come. Hands are free. And there wasn't much Connor could do on that one.
Schoonmaker, just a junior. He's got a brother that's playing as a freshman at Towson, and he is headed to the University of Richmond.
So you got Conville and a freshman for Calvert Hall taking the draw against number 11, Bryce Moore for Boys Latin. And we have a turnover right away for the Lakers, and that's something that I know in doing these games with you has caused a lot of frustration this year for Boys Latin.
Well, it's very typical. They'll make a nice play, and then Moore won the face-off, and he threw it out of bounds. But if you watch, we mentioned Calvert Hall. They love to press. They're going to be a 10-man ride here and a shot that Calvert Hall backs up.
There's a long shot there by Cole Hoddle. Back up, though, goes to Calvert Hall as BL was kind of in that 9.5, maybe not that 10-man ride, but either way, it causes the same amount of pressure on the clearing team.
Calvert Hall comes right back with their second midfield. This is Cade Marichek, whose father, Tom Marichek, was one of the great college players at Syracuse in the professional ranks, a Canadian. Cade's coming into his own.
Yeah, this is Adam Houston here, number 51. Big left-handed mid. As you can see, he likes to get to the middle of the field, puts a lot of pressure on the defense, as not only ball movement, but quick ball movement is a characteristic of Calvert Hall. As you see Marichek get inside off the pipe. Up it goes, still being battled for by both teams. You know, we were talking about Marichek prior to the game. His style of play probably is more so Canadian box-oriented, but he's starting to transition more to the field game.
Yeah, it takes him a while, although he's been around lacrosse a long time. His dad just took a job in Atlanta coaching Pace Academy.
And there he is again, and just like that, Coach, on cue, and it looks like he's transitioning very nicely to the game as a simple rotation back to his left. He goes high, 2-0 now, Calvert Hall.
Well, again, that started. BL wins a face-off and threw the ball away. Calvert Hall successfully handled a 10-man ride. Picked up the ground ball there, and beautiful left-handed shot by a talented Marichek.
Yeah, I was kind of shocked there. Slide didn't come as we get ready for this next face-off, as you have Alonzo Wallace for BL going against Dorian Jackson for Calvert Hall. Jackson pulls it behind, picks it up himself. Now he's going to try to clear it by himself. Pressure being applied momentarily. Does a nice job running out of it. Gets help from number 40, Connor Sullivan. And Calvert Hall coach back on attack once again with this 2-goal lead.
Well, so far we talked a lot about this. They initiate most of their offense from up top. And so far, 2 midfield goals.
Yeah, and this is Jack Williams. Quickly gets rotated over to Steer. Steer headed to Virginia, a player that is not only very athletic, but also very fast and very talented from a stick standpoint. A little bit of a miscue here. we've talked a lot not only about the talent of Calvert Hall, but also their depth. Like, they have a lot of depth, particularly in the midfield. They kind of come at you in waves. That Steer takes a bounce shot. Nice save there by Connor. Rebound, though, picked up quickly by Caleb Kelly. And he opts to settle it back down and reset this offense as it goes far side to Schoonmaker. Schoonmaker down that right alley. Quick transition to Hutt Purdue. Hutt Purdue is someone that Coach Kelly said has really surprised them this year. They knew he's a talented player, but he has really raised his level of play throughout the year. Errant pass goes to the midfield, and it's going to be an over back. And BL's going to maintain possession as it quickly moves up to TJ Shaw. Shaw looking for some support.
Chris, when we talked to Coach Kelly the other day, he mentioned how hard they work on stick work, and they've been zinging the ball around pretty nicely, but they had one errant pass, which is a huge emphasis for them in practice, etc. He'd be a little disappointed with that.
Bird just starts with it. He can't get his hands free, so moves it back behind. Ball gets transitioned to the far side of the field. That's Aiden Kenny now with it. Tight defense by Calvert Hall, not letting BL get their hands free and doing what they want to do. Shaw has it. Left-handed attackman, puts his shoulder down, now pulls back out, fakes a shot, sweeps hard to his left, looks inside. Great look! And a score by Finn Higgins as BL is on the board, Coach. It looked to me as if maybe Calvert Hall had paid too much attention to Shaw, and they lost Higgins behind him.
Great point. Higgins parked right down there on the far post. Watch number 0 ease down to the goal line extended. They paying too much attention to Shaw, as you mentioned. Higgins catches that thing and shoots it back behind his back into the goal. Finn Higgins, his brother Matt, graduated from BL last year as an outstanding player. Finn, just a sophomore. He's got a lot of skill, and I know BL's counting on him today and certainly in the future.
Jackson pushes it forward, though. Oh, picked up nicely by Barrett. Barrett gets out of trouble, though. Errant pass. And possession going to go right back to Calvert Hall. And, Coach, just as you had said, one good play, then there's a bad play following it up.
Great ground ball by Barrett. He switched, tried to throw with his left hand. You know, he's a natural righty. Sometimes that's a little difficult for those poles. You know, most teams in the South, I find, they don't ask their defenders to really be too skilled with the other hand, but I think you go up north a little bit, I think it's more of an emphasis.
Second line of middies in now for Calvert Hall as it moves quickly over to Houston. Stutter step keeps going to his left. That's a big task, Coach, for a short stick D midi, in my humble opinion, as the ground ball gets picked up quickly and then moved very quickly to Hutt Purdue. Easy transition for a goal. Calvert Hall now 3-1.
Two mistakes that BL's made. They've thrown 2 balls away after winning a face-off earlier. That was converted into Marichek's goal. BL turned that ball over. Calvert Hall goal, 3-1.
If you're a 2027 lacrosse player and still uncommitted, this is your last real shot. Most good players miss recruiting because they choose the wrong events. This isn't that. The National All-Star Games Uncommitted 2027 is the final recruiting event of the summer. Coaches come here to complete their classes. For a lot of players, this is where it could finally happen. If you're serious about playing in college, apply now.
All right, we're back live at J. Duncan Smith Field on the campus of Boys Latin. Beautiful day for a lacrosse game. And during that break, Coach, you commented that, in your opinion, Calvert Hall right now is just playing at a different speed than the other teams in the MIAA.
You know, I think since Coach Kelly took over the reins in the 90s at Calvert Hall, they've been known to, you know, have some very good athletes. It's a big school. They got a lot of numbers, and he uses those athletes to, you know, chase ground balls, put a lot of pressure on you in the middle of the field, and they love that style. And then when you toss that style in with some talented young men, you know, it's It's a nice formula.
It was hard for me to believe that Brian Kelly is now in his 31st year as head coach at Calvert Hall. May not be for you, but for me, I was stunned when I heard that.
Well, the Kelly family, as most people that follow lacrosse, especially in this area, know, the Kelly family has been very good to the Calvert Hall lacrosse program and very good, period.
We had Jackson for Calvert Hall against Moore. Loose ball picked up by Calvert Hall to his point.
Yeah,
Always great on ground balls and seemed to be playing at a faster speed than most teams.
Well, Boys Latin had the ball in their stick, and Calvert Hall pressure in the middle of the field put that ball back on the ground.
All right, first line back in for the Cardinals as it gets transitioned over to Steer. And what you see a lot is what you're seeing right now is a hard dodge down the alley with that great speed. Ball gets transitioned quickly. Now back to Williams. He rolls to his right. Can't get his hands free, but quickly over to Schoonmaker. Constant pressure trying to get in the inside, and he does. Shot goes over the cage. Backed up nicely, though. Calvert Hall maintains possession.
Well, I think one thing about Schoonmaker, Steer's fast, Williams is fast. Schoonmaker is very, very strong, and he looks to just overpower his matchup.
Yeah, and he's not afraid of the physicality of the matchup. Almost looks for it as another shot goes wide there. Backed up by Kelly. 32 on the shot clock as Calvert Hall is going to maintain possession. Williams has it up top. Gets pressure immediately, though, but he gets inside of it. Shot there goes left. Another errant shot, though, but once again backed up by Calvert Hall.
That time, Williams, he's a righty. He got it to his left hand and never got the ball on goal.
Ball back up top to Steer. Steer fakes a shot, little hitch move, gets to his right, gets his hands free. Nice save there by Connor. And picked up nicely by BL. Let's see if they can get a break going. I don't think they're going to have numbers. Steer with that great speed for Calvert Hall gets into the hole, negates that. And BL's going to settle things down, make substitutions, get ready for their next offensive set. Coach, what do you, depth for BL? To me, it feels like they play a lot of players and a lot of talented players. You feel the same way?
Yeah, they run two and a half midfields out. They've got 3 or 4 short stick defensive middies. There's some depth, very little depth at the attack position though. But the rest of the team's got some depth. And like every team, BL's lost a couple good players to kind of season-long injuries. But, that's part of the drill.
Quinn Lynch starts with it, moves it back over to Kelly. Kelly can't convert. Nice save there by Nevin. Nevin, instead of going deep first, looks to the outlet on the wing. And this is such a luxury, Coach, when you have short stick D middies that can handle the pressure and just clear it on their own, negating any opportunity for an errant pass on the clear.
Yeah, Snellbaker right there. He's a senior, headed. I'm not sure whether he has committed yet, actually. I apologize.
And second line now in for Calvert Hall. So I call it a second line, but it's kind of a mix of players. Coach Kelly said that they have predominantly 2 lines, but on that second line they tend to mix players. They move Kelly to up top, as we've seen. Kelly has really become a really good stretch shooter. Nice move there by, that's Enrique Banks. Another save there by Connor as we're starting to go up and down in this matchup as both goalies look to be seeing the ball clearly. Quickly over to Shaw. Shaw sweeps to his left. Cut off, though, nicely there by number 1 for Calvert Hall, Cole Hoddle. Cole Hoddle coached the brother of Wyatt Hoddle at Syracuse.
Yeah, Cole's older brother, Wyatt's a senior at Syracuse, having a tremendous career at Syracuse.
As the ball gets reversed over to Shaw, down to about 2 minutes left here. And a very entertaining first quarter. Shaw sweeps to his left. Keller comes off that screen. He goes hard to his right. Misses the cage high, but Coach, that might have been as a result of Hoddle being in his hands as he was trying to get that shot off.
Yeah, Joey throws the ball. He's a He's got a very hard shot, but he's got to keep that thing on goal. He's missed high twice in this game. He's had 2 good opportunities.
Higgins now has the defense hung up behind the cage. He moves hard to his right, slips. Ball on the ground. Both teams are battling for it, though. Picked up, though, quickly by Calvert Hall. Errant pass goes down on the turf. Battle for now in the BL zone. Picked up, though, quickly by number 13, C.J. Saunders, Jr., for Calvert Hall. As we get down to the 1:12 mark here in the first quarter, possession has been primarily dominated by Calvert Hall, Coach, and I think that has been primarily because they have gotten the better on ground ball so far here. Steer with it up top as the Cardinals are still substituting, going hard to his right. Great save there by Connor as he goes low. Coach, are you surprised that Steer has gotten the short stick on on his matchup?
Well, it's pick your poison.
Yeah.
As far as I'm concerned, Calvert Hall's in their 10-man ride. Goalie shot that.
Ooh.
And Boys Latin did not back it up, which is a little bit of a mistake. That did not miss the goal by too much. It was a good shot by goaltender Connor.
Picked up by Hoddle. So for those that don't know, 10-man typically means, Coach, goalie comes out of the cage. It means the cage is open, and what you see is what we're seeing right now, either a long pass or a shot towards the cage in order to maintain possession by the team making that pass.
Correct. Boys Latin countered with their 10-man ride. Calvert Hall threw the ball out of bounds. Clock is ticking.
Yeah, BL with that point is going to have to hurry. We're down now to 10. As they're looking for an opening, and here we go again. Another long. Oh, and that hits off the post. Another long shot as the first quarter is going to expire. I don't know if I've seen that, Coach. I think it was 4 shots by either a long pole or goalie in succession.
Well, the game's picking up here a little bit. It's been back and forth for the last 4 minutes. BL's had a couple opportunities. Look at this 65-yard shot, hits off the pipe. Watch this. Boom. Wow.
Yeah, that was really close. Please come back to live action. We got a good one. Calvert Hall, 3-1.
If you're a 2027 lacrosse player and still uncommitted, this is your last real shot. Most good players miss recruiting because they choose the wrong events. This isn't that. The National All-Star Games Uncommitted 2027 is the final recruiting event of the summer. Coaches come here to complete their classes. For a lot of players, this is where it could finally happen. If you're serious about playing in college, apply now.
Kelly Benefits helps employers and employees save time, money, and hassle in navigating the intricacies of insurance, benefits, and payroll challenges. Kelly Benefits is pleased to be a sponsor of the MIAA Championships. Visit kellybenefits.com to put our people, technology, and solutions to work for you.
What happens when a world-class luxury vehicle meets a luxurious first-class facility? You call it Sheehy Lexus of Annapolis. Right now, visit us in-store and choose from a great selection of new Lexus vehicles. Or build your own deal however you want and wherever you are at SheehyLexusOfAnnapolis.com. With an unmatched combination of selection, service, and purchasing flexibility, it's never been easier to find the perfect Lexus at Sheehy Lexus of Annapolis.
All right, back to live actions. We get set for this face-off brought to us by the Rogers Knapp Group of Merrill Lynch. Jackson against Moore. Jackson wins the draw, is able to pick it up, receives pressure, and does a nice job getting away from that. As Calvert Hall now is going to be on attack. Once again, both teams have switched sides. Calvert Hall now moving from left to right.
That's Snellbaker, one of their shorties. We talked about him earlier. I apologize. He is headed to Drexel University. And they run 3 really talented short stick defensive middies at you. Snellbaker, Morozov, and then also C.J. Sanders.
Marechek starts with possession. Back it goes to Houston. Houston puts that shoulder down. He gets his hands free as the double comes. Inside move, checked away nicely. Great ground ball there, picked up by Cam Anglin for BL. And pass goes up clear. Oh, they catch Nevin out of the cage. Shot goes wide there. And you had mentioned that, Coach, during the break. You had said, hey, Nevin, good at saving the ball, may not be great out of the cage.
Yeah. I do believe that Quinn Lynch took that shot. He should have thrown the ball over to 17, who he had an alley and an open goal as the goaltender was running to get back in.
Up top, the party started with Cooper Reed. Reed back over to Shaw. Shaw receives some help from Reed, sweeps hard to his left. Played nicely, though, by Calvert Hall as BL's not able to get what they want. After initiating off that pick, Shaw pulls it back out. Now down to his right. No slide comes. There's a brief show there by Tanton. And drive around the left-hand side. And a shot. And I believe it's a score by number 34, Coach
Quinn Lynch. Missed the open goal. Missed a pass to T.J. Shaw, but he makes a great play. Just hard dodge to the top front of the goal. And a real nice finish by
you can see
Quinn Lynch.
He doesn't even really use the pick, Coach. The pick was there, but doesn't use it. Comes around and does a nice job rotating his hips and shoulders. Gets that one by Nevin. And Coach BL is hanging in there. They've had a lot of miscues and things that haven't gone their way, but when you look at the scoreboard, they still only trail by 1. Wallace does a nice job picking that up to get possession back to BL. Pass goes to the far side to Shaw. Nice look there by Keller. Shaw probably makes the right decision, Coach. Pulls it back out. Let's get reset.
Yeah, Calvert Hall played that somewhat of a fast break really well. Didn't give BL an opportunity to get a shot off, but possession is pretty important. This is Connor Keller, sophomore, younger brother to Joey, number 20.
Yeah, we saw this in the game against Spalding. Connor comes in, inverts from behind, goes hard to his right, and it gets reversed back over to Shaw. Shaw, a little left to right stutter, comes down that right alley, tries to sneak one in there by Nevin. Nevin does a nice job blocking that passage towards the goal. And we're going to get set to clear as Connor for BL stays in the cage this time. So, Coach, kind of that standard clear. When I say standard, what does that typically mean?
Well, when you're clearing the ball and you have 7 guys.
Oh, boy, we got Lynch on a breakaway. Lynch goes, oh, great save there by Nevin as he goes low. Sorry to interrupt you there, Coach, but we had a change in possession and we had to talk about it.
And then Nevin was guilty. I'm not sure what the call was. I think it was an in and out. Great save by Nevin. The defender put his foot on the crease, so that gives Boys Latin the ball back.
So, Coach, the standard clear typically means what?
Standard clear, well, remember, you have 7 people at your defensive end. Offenses only have 6 people. So a standard clear is you have 7, they have 6, and you should be able to find an open man a little easier. The 10-man ride tries to take that part of it away.
Fick with a hard drive to his right towards the cage. As we see so often, a quick transition to Shaw. Shaw, though, decides to go back behind with it to Kemp Kelly. Kelly around to his right, puts his shoulder down as he's a short stick. And not going to be he's not going to be a penalty, Coach. They're going to call loose ball. Possession back to BL.
They reset the shot clock. BL has 60 seconds now. Just a push from behind on a loose ball.
Lynch starts with it behind. Lynch to his left. Now he rotates it back behind to Kelly. Kelly back to Lynch.
Coach Farrell with a timeout.
Good timeout there, Coach. It seems like things had come a little bit discombobulated, so I think that was a good timeout. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I agree. Possession is key. BL's hanging in there. 3-2. About 8 minutes left in the second quarter. We'll be back shortly.
If you're a 2027 lacrosse player and still uncommitted, this is your last real shot. Most good players miss recruiting because they choose the wrong events. This isn't that. The National All-Star Games Uncommitted 2027 is the final recruiting event of the summer. Coaches come here to complete their classes. For a lot of players, this is where it could finally happen. If you're serious about playing in college, apply now.
All right, back to live action here at J. Duncan Smith Field on the campus of Boys Latin. And Coach, let's talk a little bit about pace. Is either team playing at the pace that they want to in order to be successful?
Sure. Well, again, the pace Calvert Hall wants is kind of, let's go. We want to push the ball. We want to play you all over the field. We want a 10-man ride. We want to wear you out with some of our speed and athleticism. BL has matched that reasonably after getting behind 3-1. They've done a nice job taking the advantage of a couple decent opportunities. Nevin just made a huge save there. BL's hanging in the game, but they want to slow the tempo down a little bit.
And to that point, we're going to get started. And it's going to start with Shaw as he goes back behind to Lynch. Lynch receives some help there from Kelly. Comes around hard to his right. Defender falls down. He goes high. Oh, I thought that might have been a goal.
Well, they called a moving pick. I'm not sure. It looked like possibly BL might have stepped in the crease.
Yeah, from our angle, that was really hard to see. Momentarily, I thought that was a goal as Tanton there throws an errant pass. But Calvert Hall is going to maintain possession. Coach, some people were asking, why was that not?
Because you have 20 seconds to get the ball over the midline once you gain possession.
Lynch comes around, and Coach, to your point, I guess they called a moving pick prior to the shot.
I think that the Calvert Hall guy might have run through that pick and knocked him down into the crease.
Steer comes back around to his left. It has been a little while since Calvert Hall has had possession for a set. They might use this as an opportunity to get people re-engaged and re-involved, but they're not going to be able to do that. Great job there by number 3, Chase Kritzman for BL. Nice check there on Schoonmaker, and possession back to BL. And we were talking about pace. Well, BL coach certainly in this quarter has not been able to get up and down the field as much as they would like. And I think it's really hampered them offensively in terms of getting into some kind of a groove.
Yeah, good point. This is BL's first midfield. Actually, this is a little mix and match midfield. These guys are fresher, so they've mixed some of the guys from the first and some from the second.
Blake Burgess with possession, coming around to his left, over to Keller. Keller right to left, roll back to his right, having trouble maintaining his feet, takes a shot there. Easy save by Nevin as that stick side high. And here we're talking about pace. Calvert Hall trying to run, but Keller does a nice job getting back in the hole. Now the situation here, Coach, is you have an attackman playing defense. Typically you see a team try to take advantage of that, but that would require, I'm assuming, Snellbaker to stay on the field, and he's not really an offensive threat.
Well, they're comfortable. If Snellbaker's going to stay on the field just playing 5-on-5 basically, he won't be too involved in the offense other than setting a pick which he did just there.
And now he goes, and let's see if Keller's going to be able to follow him.
They were offsides.
Oh boy, a rare error there by Calvert Hall offensively as they were offsides during the substitution. Keller now with possession, looking for something on the inside. He hears Barrett. Barrett lets it go. Oh, another fantastic save by Nevin, and Coach Nevin is keeping them in this right now.
He's made 2 or 3. That was a tremendous save. It's so hard to stop these guys with their poles free, which Barrett had there. Calvert Hall's getting a little sloppy.
Well, you said they're not afraid to muck it up, but I don't think they want to muck it up when they're causing all of the muck. but picked up nicely there.
Great ride by Sullivan, number 40.
To your
Stayed
point.
on it.
And
Coach Kelly settled his team down with a good timeout.
I think you're absolutely right. It has been an uncharacteristic style of play for Calvert Hall with a lot of unforced errors. Opportune time to take a timeout, and to your point, get the team reset.
Look at this shot. Great save by Nevin. Unbelievable. That ball's coming at him about 100 miles an hour. 3-2 with about 4 minutes left, 5 minutes left in the second quarter. Calvert Hall ahead.
The 2026 MIAA Lacrosse Game of the Week is presented by Sheehy Lexus of Annapolis, your Baltimore Annapolis area Lexus dealer. O2 Sports Insurance, the #1 sports insurance in the USA. The town of Ocean City, something to smile about. St. Paul's School for Boys, strong self, shared success. Rehab to Perform. Stay ready to perform with Rehab to Perform physical therapy. Don't be left on the sidelines. And Advanced Radiology. Trusted by more doctors. Preferred by more patients.
All right, back to live action. And, Coach, here are the standings as we head into the playoffs. Comments, what are you seeing?
Well, the top 6 teams have already clinched playoffs. Boys Latin's playing for pride, as are St. Joe, St. Paul's, Gilman, and John Carroll. But we're still up in the air as to who will be the #1 and 2 seed. One of the Calvert Hall or Loyola is going to have 2 losses because they play each other next week on rivalry day, the last day in the regular season. Calvert Hall, Loyola, McDonough, Gilman, Boys Latin, St. Paul, St. Mary's, Severn. It's a great day.
And there's Houston. Houston, who's really improved his dodging throughout the course of the season, gets his hands free. He goes low, but Connor, seeing the ball cleanly, makes a nice save. Easy clear for the Lakers.
Well, I'm sorry, one way to break the 10-man ride, of course, is to get the ball out quickly. The shorty step down and support your goaltender. That time, Cold Air Dose, number 45 for Boys Latin, did a really good job helping out Blake Connor, getting that ball up and out quickly.
Kim Kelly, playing some midfield coach, typically plays attack as he throws it over to Fick. Fick goes far side with it to Shaw. Shaw decides not to dodge. He goes back behind with it to Lynch. Lynch is going to get things started as he goes hard to his right. Back up top, it goes to Fick. Fick has a long pole on him, drives hard down the right-hand alley, puts his shoulder down. Shot! Oh, that's outside of the cage. And Nevin's going to pick that up cleanly.
Yeah, this is an instant clear. If one of these shorties gets the ball, they love to get into the shorties and let them just run it out. There's Sanders, nice catch. This kid is a wonderful athlete.
Yeah, to your point, Coach, it's such a luxury having short stick team meetings that are not only great on the ball, but you can rely on them in the clear. Saunders fake substituting, but they're not going to get what they want from a number standpoint. And we're going to go back to just playing 6-on-6. Steer grabs it coming out of the box. 3-2 Calvert Hall with just about 3 minutes left to go here in the second period. And Steer goes hard right to left. Slide comes quickly. Hands free. Shot to score. And that's Caleb Kelly, Coach. It doesn't look complicated, but they make it look, and they make it look so easy. Easier said than done, correct? When I'm talking about the offensive set for Calvert Hall.
Well, Steer's got so much speed, you got to respect it. I'm not sure what happened. Maybe a little bit late slide, double slide. The first slide was okay. 43 is out of position for Boys Latin there. Their defenseman, Luke Lopez, the junior defenseman, he's fading behind the goal. Well, nobody's going to score from behind the goal unless you're Gary Gates, so you got to make sure you're paying attention to the guys in front of the goal.
Jackson pulls it behind. He was going head-to-head against Wallace. Jackson clears it nicely, moves back to his right. Coach, this is going to sound silly, but what I see a lot of times, like when I'm talking about Jackson, guys that have it, instead of rolling out of pressure, they just keep going straight forward, and it typically doesn't end well. he's doing a really good job when he senses pressure, just rolling back around and moving it to the next man. As you see Steer getting to the middle of the defense. Shot comes, oh, nice back check there.
Great check.
As you had Schoonmaker, who, as you had said, not afraid to get physical, getting to the inside of that defense, but a great back check there to prevent the ball from getting on cage. Here comes Steer. Up top it goes to Kelly as he pops out from behind. Shot goes wide. But backed up there nicely by Sullivan. Calvert Hall maintains possession.
Schoonmaker and Williams have, they don't hesitate to let it go. They like to shoot. And for good reason, they're pretty good at it.
Anglin does a nice job there picking up Sullivan. Inside look, it goes. Oh, uncharacteristic miss there, excuse me, by Schoonmakers. Kelly did a nice job finding him on the inside on a defense that slid pretty quickly to Kelly's hands. Boys Latin coach getting a lot of pressure right now. Getting somewhat lucky too, as Calvert Hall's gotten their hands free quite a bit, but just haven't been accurate on their shots.
3 seconds on the shot clock. They just throw the ball in the corner, see if they don't set up their 10-man ride. They're in it already. Goaltender's out of the goal by about 35 yards. The goal is open and significantly open.
Yeah, Kelly slides down to put pressure on Connor. And there goes a long shot. And that's going to be backed up, though, by BL. And they're going to maintain possession. The ref lets both teams get settled. And we're going to play some offense here as the ball goes up top to Keller. With just about 1 minute left to go here in the second period, do you think Coach BL will hold, or do you think they'll just maintain their aggressiveness and try to create opportunities regardless of what time there is on the clock?
I think they would like to hold on to the ball until the bitter end here, but if you get a good opportunity, you got to take it.
To that point, gets passed over to Shaw. Shaw with Hoddle on him, pulls it back out. Looks like they're going to be fairly deliberate as we're getting close to 30 seconds here.
Yeah, they're going to wait till about 20 before they go to the goal.
There goes Shaw with a lot more room, runs hard to his left. Back pass it goes to Burgess. Burgess with a series of stutter steps to his right, who's quickly point behind. Lynch comes around to his left. Nice slide there by Calvert Hall.
Quick to
As we're
slide.
getting down to 10 seconds, and Shaw's just going to have to go. He goes hard to the right, draws a short stick on the slide, and the ball hits the ground, and that's not the way you want to end this quarter if you're BL. But all in all, Coach, not a bad effort by the Lakers against the MIA's top team.
Yeah, hanging in there. Been a little sloppy at both ends, but also Calvert Hall likes that part of the game typically, you know. The sloppier sometimes the better for you. But BL's hanging in. Nevin's made a couple brilliant saves here in the last couple minutes. Calvert Hall with a 4-2 lead. We got a good, solid game on a beautiful spring day in Baltimore at the half.
If you're a 2027 lacrosse player and still uncommitted, this is your last real shot. Most good players miss recruiting because they choose the wrong events. This isn't that. The National All-Star Games Uncommitted 2027 is the final recruiting event of the summer. Coaches come here to complete their classes. For a lot of players, this is where it could finally happen. If you're serious about playing in college, apply now.
What happens when a world-class luxury vehicle meets a luxurious first-class facility? You call it Sheehy Lexus of Annapolis. Right now, visit us in-store and choose from a great selection of new Lexus vehicles. Or build your own deal however you want and wherever you are at SheehyLexusOfAnnapolis.com. With an unmatched combination of selection, service, and purchasing flexibility, it's never been easier to find the perfect Lexus at Sheehy Lexus of Annapolis.
We're here with Ryan Hopkins, Athletic Director for the Boys Latin School. Ryan, thanks for having us.
Absolutely. Glad to be here. Thank you, guys.
It's a pleasure for us to be here. Would love to get just a general overview of athletics at Boys Latin.
You know, it's interesting. We are one of the smaller schools in the MIAA in terms of our area peer schools, and yet we're able to compete, you know, like in lacrosse, in a lot of ways and at the highest levels. And that is a real function, I think, of what we do here. We expect our guys to be involved in multiple facets of life here at Boys Latin. So we've got kids who are in the play and who are AP students and who are top athletes. We've got guys who play 3 sports every year that they're here. And it's that buy-in of the student body and the faculty to the athletic program and vice versa that allows us to have the success that we do. So for me, a successful school has an athletics program that encapsulates sort of everything that the school is trying to do and isn't siloed. So we don't have the athletes and the school. We have a school that encompasses athletes and students, and they're all the same guys. And so that allows our athletics program to have a lot of success because we get people in the stands, we get buy-in from the players, and by and large, our varsity coaches are people who are here on campus, which provides the relationship piece that's so important.
Agreed. With that being said, how does athletics contribute in supporting the overall mission of the school?
That's a great question, and it's one of the ones that I get so excited about working here at Boys Latin. So I'm in my first year as athletic director, but it's my 14th year at the school. And I was in the middle school for a long, long time before I came across the street to the high school. And so I've been lucky enough to get to know all of these upper school athletes before they came over to this side of the street. And I would say that the mission of Boys Latin is very much about community. We are trying to build young men who are the best versions of themselves. And so rather than have this sort of ideal picture of what a graduate is, you know, the Boys Latin man, let's say, we really have worked intentionally to try to recognize each kid for his level of excellence and independence and the things that he's interested in. Even though we're small, we offer more sports at the middle school level than any school in the area. We've got 19 different teams that compete in middle school sports, even though we have a middle school right now that hovers between 160 and 180 kids. And that's just an example of us adding programs once we find out that boys have an interest. You mentioned hacky sack when we were talking before. We don't have any plans for a varsity hacky sack team anytime soon, but we've got a futsal team. In fact, 2 of them in the middle school. We've got a volleyball team in the middle school. And these are all programs that the majority of the schools in the area don't offer. But we recognize that there's an interest, and so we try very hard to meet the boy where he is. And so by doing that in athletics, it makes everything else that we do here easy. So we want to make sure that a kid's in the right math class. We want to offer a club because this guy's really into 3D printing. Athletics becomes a natural fit for all of that because of how many different teams we're able to offer.
Very impressive. We'll be back with Ryan Hopkins, Athletic Director for Boys Latin, in just one moment.
In Ocean City, Maryland, having fun is kind of our thing. I mean, look at these two. They're all about having fun. That's fun. This is fun. Whoa. Too much fun? Nah, no such thing. Because here, even leg day is fun. So head to the coast and, well, just coast. Pump up the volume, or just pump up the pool floaty. From the boardwalk to the bay, come discover somewhere to smile about.
All right, we're back with Ryan Hopkins, athletic director at the Boys Latin School. And Ryan, I wanted to take an opportunity to find out more about the work that you're doing with the One Love Foundation.
Yeah, Chris, as most people, I hope, are now aware that at the timely passing of Yardley Love, Yardley's mom and sister started what is now known as the One Love Foundation, which is meant to bring awareness to relationship violence and healthy and unhealthy relationships. Boys Latin was very proud to be the first high school to partner with the One Love Foundation, and ever since then, every varsity team sponsors or delegates a certain game to be their One Love game. We do stuff with other area schools. Our upper school students work with our middle school students, and we've seen a huge benefit from that. In an environment where young men often struggle to figure out what the correct identity is in terms of how they should perceive themselves and be perceived by others and how they should treat partners, our One Love Foundation work has been integral to raising and supporting the correct type of masculinity, the correct type of partnership, the correct type of support. And our boys have bought in wholesale, and we have seen differences across the boards. We are so proud to partner with them.
Ryan, excellent work, continued success. Thank you again for hosting us today.
Absolutely, Chris. Thank you.
In Ocean City, Maryland, having fun is kind of our thing. I mean, look at these two. They're all about having fun. That's fun. This is fun. Whoa. Too much fun? Nah, no such thing. Because here, even leg day is fun. So head to the coast and, well, just coast. Pump up the volume, or just pump up the pool floaty. From the boardwalk to the bay, come discover somewhere to smile about.
Kelly Benefits helps employers and employees save time, money, and hassle in navigating the intricacies of insurance, benefits, and payroll challenges. Kelly Benefits is pleased to be a sponsor of the MIAA Championships. Visit kellybenefits.com to put our people, technology, and solutions to work for you.
All right, back to live action here at J. Duncan Smith Field on the campus of Boys Latin. And we have a good one, Coach. We thought we would have a good one, and we do, with Calvert Hall leading by just a score of 4-2 as we get to highlights here brought to us by the Rogers Knapp Group of Merrill Lynch.
Well, we're seeing Calvert Hall goalie Nevin make a couple amazing saves. Those last two were terrific. Now we're going to see Boys Latin's first goal. A nice play. TJ Shaw to Finn Higgins. Here's Quinn Lynch, just a power dodge, getting the top side a little bit and gets it by Nevin for Boys Latin's their only 2 goals.
And we have stats brought to us by the Rogers Knapp Group of Merrill Lynch. Coach, what do you see? Anything stick out to you?
Stats are pretty daggone even, just about across the board. Shots on goal, saves, everything's pretty close, and the game's been close. So the stats are worthy here. Sometimes the stats are so skewed, they don't make any sense. But these look, we've got a good game, and stats are pretty even.
Coach, there's many reasons why I like doing games with you. But one of the primary ones is I always meet so many new people. I met, 15, 20 new people just during halftime who want to come up here and say hello to you. It's wonderful.
Well, when you get as old as I am, you tend to know more people. Isn't that right?
And I just want to remind everybody that the face-off that started the third period was brought to us by the Rogers Knapp Group of Merrill Lynch. As we get underway here with first midfield for Calvert Hall, as Steer is going to get things started as he initiates from up top. Hard drive to his right. Gets reversed back behind. And up top it goes to Caleb Kelly. Coach, a lot of times it seems like teams just kind of start like a dummy offense right away just to get things started. Would you agree with that?
Yeah. One thing Calvert Hall does, once they get the ball moving, their passes are very, very crisp and on the money. The ball's zinging around very quickly.
Yeah, we in speaking to Coach Kelly, he mentioned that they do a lot of individual work, certainly on shooting, but he said they spend a lot more time on passing than you would believe that they would. It's a primary point of emphasis for them, to your point, because it keeps the offense moving cleanly. As you see to that point, a pass going to the inside to Schoonmaker, not able to get his hands free, but possession maintained by the Cardinals.
We just saw Boys Latin shorting attackman Caleb Kelly. And there's another high, hard one. It's kind of how they started the first half. That shot clock was winding down below 10 seconds, and Hud Perlow gets to the middle of the field and throws a high, hard one right past goalie Blake, Boys Latin goalie Blake Connor. Gets to the middle of the field. I'm not sure Blake was quite ready. I think he's saying he just said something to one of his defensemen. I think he got screened by the defenseman that was sliding to Perlow, and he just never never got a piece of it.
Jackson here for Calvert Hall against Wallace for BL. Jackson doing the bulk of the work for the Cardinals as he picks it up. And Boys Latin has kind of done face-off by committee as they've rotated in 3 players. Conville has come in briefly for Calvert Hall, but it's been primarily Jackson's gig today, and he's done it very well. Second line now in for Calvert Hall as Marichek starts with it up top. He has working with Houston, a little 2-man game on the side. He goes down to his right, takes a shot, and he scores, Coach. And just like that, we talked about they can come at you in waves, and they have, and they've increased that 2-goal lead now to 4.
That's exactly how the first quarter started for Calvert Hall. They scored 2 quick goals. Marichek banged one left-handed. Watch him come down here hard right-handed. So, and both of those shots that he scored from pretty much the same place, one lefty, one righty, they both had a lot of pace.
Yeah, it looks like Colton Wagner kind of leaned hard to his right. He thought they were going to go to his left. He's off balance. Marichek reverses, go down to his right. Makes sense because Marichek's been known as a hard left-handed player, but he's now showing that he's multi-dimensional in that facet. Picked up once again by Calvert Hall as they come to the middle of the field. Shot in a great save there by Connor. And that was one that was greatly needed. And a wonderful ground ball there by Luke Lopez. Lopez looking for help as it goes to the corner. Oh, nice job there by Shaw. Shaw doing a lot of work himself, Coach, to clear it and now get things started for the Lakers.
Shaw's a talented lefty. He's more skilled off the ball than he is with the ball. He's crafty with the ball. He's had a beautiful assist early, but he's primarily a shooter.
Well, that's interesting you say, because it feels like to me they initiate a lot with Shaw. Like you see here, they run the offense through him, but you seem to feel that he's better off balls. It goes to Keller. Keller shot and misses another one high as he looks to the turf. He's had several opportunities,
He's
Coach,
had
today.
3 tremendous looks. He shot them all over the goal. Can't score unless you put the ball in the cage.
Lynch and Kelly doing some work together behind the cage. Lynch come to his left, back goes over to Kelly. Kelly gets topside to his right, back to Keller. Keller gets to the inside, takes a shave net, and he scores, Coach. You put your hands in the air because when he's had his hands free, he misses a cage. Now when he has pressure, he sneaks it past Nevin.
Yeah, and he shot the ball low. I'm sure Nevin's watched him shoot 3 times high, so I'm sure Nevin's expecting a high shot. But it's in a good spot, low away, lower right corner, really nice placement.
Credit Keller, too. Puts his left shoulder down, gets inside the teeth of the defense. He looked determined, Coach, to score, and that he did as BL cuts that deficit back to 3 as Jackson for Calvert Hall is going to take this draw against Moore. Moore, nice job there, pulls it behind. He's going to go back to, risky play there. Connor getting pressure right away on this ride, and Calvert Hall shifts immediately into that 10-man, Coach. We got a wide open goal. We saw a series of shots, and they're going to go for it there. Misses the cage, but backed up nicely by Shaw. You have Hoddle looking to the ref saying, wait a minute, I was there first. The referee says no, possession back to the Lakers.
That's ref Steve Rupel, who is big time official. Refs a lot of Division I lacrosse, numerous national championship Final Fours. It's one of the beauties about being fortunate enough to play some lacrosse here in Maryland. You know, there's a fair amount of quality goaltenders that work these high school games.
Slide comes quickly from Calvert Hall. BL does a nice job picking it off the ground. Here's Burgess up top. Stutter step down the right-hand alley. Gets a push from behind. Maintains his feet. Lynch comes back around hard to his left.
Shot clock's down to 13, 12.
And here comes Lynch. Maybe a step further, would have gotten a shot on Cage. They miss it wide. And we got about 7 seconds, Coach, for BL to try to get towards the cage. As Burgess up top it goes. They can't pick it up. There's a race for the ball at midfield. And the referee's going to say pick it up and let's keep playing.
Well, the shot clock went off or ran out, and Boys Lattin's got nobody back on defense.
Yeah, that they don't. They get lucky there. Sullivan misses it wide. And Coach, why to stop and start there? Like initially it looked like they were going to let him run with it. Then they stopped him.
Well, as soon as that horn goes off, they hadn't had the ball in his stick, I'm assuming is what the referee called there. But Calvert Hall still had a 6-on-3 break, and Boys Lattin got lucky they missed the cage.
Banks Enrique in now for Calvert Hall. As it goes back up top to number 22, Oliver Francis. So have some new players in on midfield.
This is the third group for Calvert Hall. You rarely see these guys out on the field.
Third group, but still very talented, Coach. Not a large drop-off from one midfield to the next. Kelly has it up top, running hard to his right. Francis with a little juke move, goes low to low, misses the cage. Hutt Purdue there to back it up. Possession maintained with 30 seconds left on this shot clock for the Cardinals. Purdue puts his shoulder down, rolls, can't get his hands free. Nice job there by Angler. Angler's made a couple really nice plays today.
He has picked up a couple nice ground balls.
Yeah, when he's been challenged, when his matchup's challenged, he's been up to the task. But it's back to that.
He's got a good shot from 50 yards if he wants it.
Issue now of having to clear for BL. Errant pass hits the turf. We're playing a little bit of hockey here. As Francis does a nice job picking it back up. He's getting hit heavily, getting some lumber to the shoulders, rolls back out of it, looks for some help. And Calvert Hall right back in possession.
That's Calvert Hall's pressure. Guy coming across with the ball at the midline. He really had a good shot from the midline. He should have taken that shot. Tried to get the ball to Shaw, who's getting a lot of pressure. Calvert Hall pressing out as the BL's clearing the ball. Really nice play by the Calvert Hall defense.
Yeah, that first line back in now. Schoonmaker has it up top quickly. It goes inside. Nice save there by Connor. Connor, though, knocked down by Kelly. Kelly, heads up play. Coach's son, always around the ball. Really a shame there for Connor, who makes a really nice save, Coach.
Connor made a great save, and to try to counter Calvert Hall's 10-man ride and pressure, Connor's trying to get the ball out quickly. He just didn't get enough height on it, and Kelly with stick up in the air. Watch. Really good save right here. Great save. Watch how he's trying to get the ball out. He just didn't get the ball up in the air enough.
Yeah, and the nice thing there is Kelly hesitated, was able to convert, as we'll be back to live action with Calvert Hall on top, 7-3.
If you're a 2027 lacrosse player and still uncommitted, this is your last real shot. Most good players miss recruiting because they choose the wrong events. This isn't that. The National All-Star Games Uncommitted 2027 is the final recruiting event of the summer. Coaches come here to complete their classes. For a lot of players, this is where it could finally happen. If you're serious about playing in college, apply now. If you're a 2027 lacrosse player and still uncommitted, this is your last real shot. Most good players miss.
All right, back to live action here. We're at J. Duncan Smith Field on the campus of Boys Lattin, where Calvert Hall has come out hot here in the second half and has increased their 2-goal lead to 4 now by a score of 7-3. Coach, you were saying during halftime, one of the primary reasons that Calvert Hall is able to move ahead has been that pressure there through their 10-man ride and their ability then to pick the ball up the turf and get it moving.
Yeah, well, which they've done nicely. They turned that ball over, and that ended up resulting in a goal. we've seen this before. Calvert Hall, McDonough have really had their way in the last 10 years. Boys Latin snuck one in 21, St. Mary's in 15, but Calvert Hall and McDonough have had some incredible lacrosse teams over this last decade.
Boy, credit to both of those programs. To your point, some people think this is the toughest league in all of high school lacrosse. To be able to win that many championships really speaks a lot to not only great coaching, but their ability to maintain that consistency. Wallace does a nice job there off the draw, picking it back up. Keller comes to
help him. Nice play by Keller. Wallace maintained his poise. But yeah, first off, Calvert Hall, you saw they had a three-peat in there. No MIAA team had ever had a three-peat. They had one, and then McDonough had one, 22, 3, and 4. And it's pretty remarkable.
Coach, do you think they would have potentially had a four-peat if it wasn't it then COVID that following year, right?
Yeah, could have had a four-peat, absolutely. COVID stepped in, and then, last year really, the Calvert Hall, not their streak necessarily, but Spalding had them on the ropes.
They're going to get a moving pick there as Keller was trying to get his hands free. Calvert Hall now on the clear. And as we've said so often, I was just getting ready to give them credit, saying the short stick D middies for Calvert Hall provide the ability to clear without providing much help, but BL has done a nice job making this clear a scrum, although it doesn't result in them getting an additional possession as now Steer receives it coming across the midline. It's kind of, when you look at this first line for Calvert Hall, it's interesting. You have two speed guys and one guy that's really physical in Schoonmaker. That puts a lot of pressure on matchups, I would assume, defensively.
Yes, correct. I'm just kind of somewhat giggling a little bit. Calvert Hall kid fell down.
Oh, we got an errant pass there. Kelly quickly goes back up, and Purdue makes an acrobatic catch, rotates, and then scores as yet another errant pass on the clear has led to an easy goal for Calvert Hall.
It's been this entire season for Boys Latin. They failed to complete a couple passes. It was an errant pass. The attackman or the midi there might have had it. It was a little bit behind them, but this has been an ongoing theme for Boys Latin this year, and the reason that they're stuck and out of the playoffs for the first time in a very long time.
Jackson against Wallace at the middle of the field. Wallace has done a nice job against Jackson when he has come to play, but Jackson does a nice job picking that up. Kelly lets one rip. Probably should have held on to that, coach, for more of an extended possession, but here we go again in the clearing game as Connor's going to let this one go. Misses the cage, and Shaw, as he has done all day long, doing a nice job maintaining possession.
Well, one thing in Calvert Hall's 10-man ride that has been very effective, although they typically let you get up to the top of your restraining box, the 30-yard line as it is, and that's not a bad shot from where Blake took that. It's about a 60-yarder, but, you get it on goal, and if you miss the goal, and just make sure you're backing it up, which Boys Latin did that time.
Up top it goes to Aiden Kenny. Kenny rolls back to his right. He falls to the ground and not able to get his hands free. He's going to back it out instead of restarting. Goes over to Keller. Behind it goes a nice move there by Finn Higgins. Great on-ball pressure hasn't prevented him from getting his hands free, but it goes over to Kenny. Coach, you throw your hands in the air. I'm assuming that's because instead of going overhand on cage, Kenny goes low to high, misses the cage, and another missed opportunity.
Yeah, I think, if you look at BL stats, they've had some very quality shots today.
Slides have been coming quickly from the crease. Does that surprise you today? Slides from Calvert Hall defensively have come quickly from the crease. Does that surprise you?
No, they've always been quick to slide defensively, always.
Got you. Now, in terms of philosophy, is that because they feel they're not comfortable with their own ball defenders, or do they just feel more comfortable in sliding quickly? They trust their rotations.
That's just the way they. That's the way they play defense.
And we see another long shot there, and backed up quickly. And Calvert Hall's going to start quickly, trying to get.
That was bad refereeing right there. That man that picked that ball up, he has to come to a halt. He can't get a running start, and the ref let him get a running start there. We call that the Steele-Stanwyck rule. If you ever saw Steele-Stanwyck play at Loyola High School and at University of Virginia, he was a master at getting one of those balls and starting to run. And they basically changed the rule that you have to come to a stop once that ball goes out of bounds before the ref blows it back in play.
And I'm sure Steele-Stanwyck appreciates you working him into this broadcast, Coach, since it's been a while since he's played an MIAA game. As Kelly maintains possession, rolls it back out, under a minute now in this third period. Houston, a big, strong left-handed mid. He starts running to his left. Great job there defensively as he's not able to get his hands free. Banks Enrique lets one go. Blind shot, but somehow Connor sees it, and Anglin does another nice job picking up a loose ball and maintaining possession. So by reversing it, so BL can try to attempt to clear this cleanly. As the ball hits the turf, it hits the turf again, and they were kind of at the point of no return with number 43, Luke Lopez, but Coach Farrell sees that, calls a timeout. Smart thing to do to maintain possession with 21 seconds left to go.
Yeah, of course, with an 8-3 Calvert Hall lead with about 20 seconds left in the third quarter.
Kelly Benefits helps employers and employees save time, money, and hassle in navigating the intricacies of insurance, benefits, and payroll challenges. Kelly Benefits is pleased to be a sponsor of the MIAA Championships. Visit kellybenefits.com to put our people, technology, and solutions to work for you.
All right, back to live action here at Boys Latin, where Calvert Hall now leads by a score of 8-3. Coach, you tapped me on the shoulder during break and you said, hey, Calvert Hall has 8 goals. How many of those, though, are a result of an unforced error by BL?
Well, some of those errors are due to Calvert Hall's pressure, right? But nonetheless, they've been errors that they are capable of doing. But look, let's not forget, Calvert Hall has fed on those errors and put the ball in the back of the net, and they deserve all the credit for taking advantage of the opportunities that BL's given them.
All right, BL called a timeout as they were trying to maintain possession on their clear. It's going to start with Quinn Lynch, number 34. BL could desperately use a goal here to try to get this within 4 as we head into the final quarter. Lynch gets a head of steam, moves to his right, gets a series of picks, goes back up top. And we're now down to 5 seconds. Shaw's going to have to just get it and go. He does. He rolls back to his right. He's not comfortable there. Keller has it, misses the cage with the quick release. He shakes his head in frustration, and that's the way this third period is going to end, as it's been all Calvert Hall in the third period, as they've put on 4 compared to 1 for BL. As we see as we just get ready to head into break, we see a couple of highlights here. Please come back for the final quarter as we have a good one.
Kelly Benefits helps employers and employees save time, money, and hassle in navigating the intricacies of insurance, benefits, and payroll challenges. Kelly Benefits is pleased to be a sponsor of the MIAA Championships. Visit kellybenefits.com to put our people, technology, and solutions to work for you.
The 2026 MIAA Lacrosse Game of the Week is presented by Sheehy Lexus of Annapolis, your Baltimore-Annapolis area Lexus dealer. O2 Sports Insurance, the #1 sports insurance in the USA. The town of Ocean City, something to smile about. St. Paul's School for Boys, strong self, shared success. Rehab to Perform. Stay ready to perform with Rehab to Perform physical therapy. Don't be left on the sidelines. And Advanced Radiology. Trusted by more doctors. Preferred by more patients.
All right, back to live action as we get set for this final period. And we have the Rehab to Perform upcoming broadcast with the final regular season game, Coach. Next Tuesday, we have rivalry day as we have Severn taking on St. Mary's, and then after that we head into the playoffs and then ultimately the championship.
Yeah, the rivalry day is on Tuesday the 5th. 7 days later, the MIAA conference semifinals will be played at the Naval Academy. Get your tickets early. And then that Friday, what's that, about the 6th, 15th or somewhere in there anyhow, that Friday, the MIAA A conference and B conference championship games will be played at Stevenson University. For those of you in the Baltimore area, you don't have to travel down to Annapolis. And it's a new venue. Naval Academy was unable to host, so they found Stevenson, which is a great venue. So another one to try to get your tickets early.
This opening face-off, as we see that shot go wide, was brought to us by the Rogers Knapp Group of Merrill Lynch. Certainly appreciate their support for these MIA broadcasts, as well as all others that help make this possible as Calvert Hall begins this fourth quarter with possession. Goes behind, boy, in traffic. Sullivan there somehow gets through that as the ball gets reversed over to the weak side. There's Schoonmaker heading down to his right. Showing some box skills, though, as he moves it back to Steer. Steer, finds an opening on the inside. And that's Sullivan really unable to find the back of the net, Coach, but that was some nifty offense.
And some very good defense, actually. Boys Latin covered up everybody that came open. Hunt Purdue, that's two lasers that he's tried to get on goal, and he hasn't. Shot clock is down below 4.
Ooh,
oh, my Lord.
boy.
What an incredible play. Boys Latin just finished playing great defense, and with 4 seconds left on the shot clock, they're guilty of playing what I'm not sure what was going on. They didn't check up properly, and Calvert Hall threw it inside. Sullivan makes a great catch. Watch this.
Calvert Hall set play off that restart. Sullivan breaks to the inside. Gets a low pass, able to pick it up into your point. Still getting the back of that before the clock expires. We're going to have Jackson come back out again to take this draw for Calvert Hall. He's going to go up against number 11, Bryce Moore. Moore done a nice job today, but I think, Coach, it's safe to say that Jackson has gotten the better of all the BL face-off men as we see him pull it back behind, clear it easily, and we're playing a little bit of make it, take it if you're Calvert Hall.
One thing that impresses me with Jackson, you know, he's a new at the position, but he's got really a nice stick. Once he's gotten the ball in his stick, he's throwing quality passes. He's got a really nice stick.
Yeah, and has a great burst to get out of pressure. As we have just Oliver Francis in to start the offense down the right-hand side. Looks inside momentarily, but goes behind with it. And Caleb Kelly sweeps to his right. Here goes Houston. Little low-to-low action on that shot. Misses the cage, but nice job there by Sullivan to maintain possession. Shot there by Francis. Connor makes that save. I believe that's Cooper Reed, Coach. I can't see the number. it is Cooper Reed. Does a nice job clearing it on his own. Back up top, it goes to Barrett. Barrett tries to get to the inside. Over it goes to Keller. Keller lets his hands free and has missed the cage high. But possession maintained now by BL.
Well, that's one way to try to generate a quick tally, is push the ball when you're transferring from defense to offense. Boys Latin did a nice job there. Barrett with his pole made a really nice move and a really good play.
Burgess does a nice job getting his hands free. Looks inside. It may have been a little bit of miscommunication as no one was there to answer that pass. And another unforced error for BL gives possession back to Calvert Hall. And that's going to be another easy clear there for Williams, who was somebody you spoke about at the beginning of the broadcast, Coach, as a player to watch. And he has not scored a lot today, but he's done a lot of other things that are important really, really well.
Well, what we're seeing is Calvert Hall has a lot of offensive firepower. You know, Kelly's got a couple, Purdue's got a couple.
And to that point, that was almost on cue.
Schoonmaker with a couple. You know, they've got a lot of weapons, and they've utilized all of them effectively. The more the merrier, right?
Yeah, Coach Kelly was quick to point out that Purdue has really been someone that has upped his game, not only this year, but throughout the course of the second half of this season when it's been most important. As you see, a nice job there by Connor. And ball hits the turf. Doesn't look like that is going to matter. That's Colt Erdos doing a nice job handling this on his own. He gets across the midfield line. And BL is going to go on attack. And, Coach, they need to hurry to cut into this deficit if they have any hope of coming out on top here today. As Figgins receives it. And BL is going to start the offense here. It looks like, or initiate through Shaw. Lynch has it, comes around to his right. Lynch looks like to be another one of those initiators. You have Lynch and Shaw that seem to do a lot of that work for BL as a pass hits the turf. And Calvert, I'm assuming, Coach, is going to be deliberate. If the opportunity's there, they're going to take it. But with just under 7 minutes to go now and a 6-goal lead, I'm assuming that they're going to continue to work the offense and work it to a point where they will probably begin to go towards the cage when it's down around 15 or 20 seconds. Back up top it goes. Errant pass, though, from Schoonmakers. He's trying to hit Steer. Steer does a nice job getting over that, pulls the ball behind him, still being battled for in front of the Calvert Hall bench. And I'm going to say possession now back to BL. And again, to me, BL is going to have to show some urgency here.
Boys Latin did not set their feet, as we were talking about earlier. The guy tried to run before the whistle blew, and the referee correctly told him to come back to the sideline and check back in, which we didn't see a little earlier when Calvert Hall got that running start. Just remember, when the ball goes out of bounds, especially when you're playing NCAA rules, you know, where there's very little subbing, when it's your opportunity, when it's out of bounds, just remember, you got to set your feet, stop for a half a second, and then let the referee blow the whistle. Don't try to get the running start.
Yeah, because then the problem there is if they force you to reset, then the defense now has had an opportunity to reset. As Fick gets it up top, down to his left. Tanton does a nice job prohibiting him from doing what he wants to do. But they're going to go back to him and say, let's get this thing started, as Tanton considered to be one of the top defenders for Calvert Hall. And I thought initially that one didn't even make it to Nevin, but he ends up with it.
It was a good shot, but he didn't get it on the ground, and Nevin just caught the ball.
Have you seen that to be somewhat of a trend with BL this year, in that they're shooting, they're getting their hands free, but not really making it difficult for the goalie to have to move and make a save.
Yeah, too many times. Again, just, another one of the subtle issues that has hurt BL this year, and that's their shooting.
Barrett doing a nice job clearing on his own. He receives a hit there from Razov, but he does a nice job keeping possession. Kenny now comes to help him out, but a lot of pressure up at the midline by Calvert Hall, not making anything easy today offensively for the Lakers. As we're now under 5 minutes left to go here in this final period. It was a good one at halftime with Calvert Hall just on top 4-2, but that third quarter, Calvert Hall really showed their muscle.
That was a big, nice save by Nevin that time. That time, Keller got the ball on cage, and Nevin had to make a good save.
Yeah, Nevin's been up for the task today. He really held them in it probably early in that first half as BL was putting a lot of pressure on them, but he made a couple big saves that really changed the complexion of this game.
Yeah, at halftime, the score could have easily been 4-2. Actually, 4-4. The halftime ended 4-2, Calvert Hall's favor. Nevin made two tremendous stops. One against Barrett, the pole, shooting the ball about 100 miles an hour.
Kenny getting a lot of pressure. He maintains possession. Shot goes wide, and Coach, we're going to have our first extra man of the game.
Wow.
With 3:50 left to go in the fourth quarter. Looks like Kenny may have gotten kind of nicked up there. Let's hope he's okay as he heads to the sideline.
Well, on these extra man plays, Finn Higgins is usually the guy that's responsible for getting the ball, possibly to a shooter. Keller, they'd love to have with his hands free. Kemp's very good inside. He's got the ball now.
This extra man opportunity brought to us by Rehab to Perform.
Beautiful play.
And the coach's point, a beautiful play and an easy conversion there for Blake Burgess, number 77, as BL now only trails by 5.
Watch this. Beautiful pass on the inside. This is Jake Townsend. He's a freshman extra man specialist. He handles the ball inside, throws a beautiful pass to Burgess. Boys Latin's got one on the board.
What happens when a world-class luxury vehicle meets a luxurious first-class facility? You call it Sheehy Lexus of Annapolis. Right now, visit us in-store and choose from a great selection of new Lexus vehicles. Or build your own deal however you want and wherever you are at SheehyLexusOfAnnapolis.com. With an unmatched combination of selection, service, and purchasing flexibility, it's never been easier to find the perfect Lexus at Sheehy Lexus of Annapolis.
All right, back to live action here. J. Duncan Smith Field on the campus of Boys Latin. And Coach, it's time. It's time for the Sheehy Lexus player of the game, and it is
Hut Purdue. That bomb out there. Watch this. He's on the inside, and he makes a really nice catch, and he twists the stick. This is his third goal. One of his teammates made a beautiful play, putting the ball on the ground for BL in a riding situation. Purdue catches it, falling down for his hat trick. I never saw any helmets got thrown on the field when that third goal went in.
All right, Coach, we're back to live action here as you have Jackson for Calvert Hall against Wallace for BL. Jackson pulls it behind. Wallace applying some pressure. Nice ground ball, though. Big-time first-time ground ball there by Joshua Griffith. Coach, I know as a former coach, you love to see those long poles get it out of their zone unabated. Ooh, that's going to be a penalty there.
Sully wants another one. He just drew a nice penalty there on Boys Latin defender, number 18.
Ryan Whitman got his money's worth, though, coaches. I think he got not only one, but 2 shots to the head. And we had no extra man opportunities, and now we're going to have our second one within a minute.
Well, Calvert Hall is probably doing the right thing here. The game, is pretty much in the bank. hold the ball, let this 40 seconds run off on the shot clock. Don't go to the goal. There's no reason to. Then when that shot clock's over, you'll get a fresh 60 seconds, so they can eat up about a minute and a half to maybe a minute 40 if they handle that in this possession. There's a coach's son. I think he knows what he's supposed to do.
Oh, and he did, Coach. He found Marichek on the inside. Marichek kind of rotates with the stick behind him, misses the cage, and now we're going to have Calvert Hall man up for first time today, I'm assuming for 1 minute.
Yeah, look, he gets up too high,
There's
slashes him right in the head. That's a pretty easy call.
Yeah, he got his money's worth on that one as we get set for this extra man opportunity brought to us by Rehab to Perform. And, Coach, a strategy question here. Do you even go towards the cage if you're Calvert Hall, or you're just going to let this play out?
I think they'll run their extra man offense here when that thing hits maybe 30 seconds.
Well, as you discussed, this season has not been typical for Boys Latin, as we see a shot. Oh, nice save there by Connor as Banks Enrique, who has scored a lot of goals this year, primarily scored a lot of his goals on man up, got his hands free. Connor, though, stood his ground. Great positioning as Keller tries to get it on the clear. He's not able to, but Kritzman picks it up. Kritzman now is going to go towards the cage, but it gets pulled back out, and BL, Coach, goes from bad to worse as they clear it, but they get called for offsides.
Well, don't forget they're down a man, and so that's a tough situation.
That's a great
sometime.
Point. Very good point.
You know, when you're clearing man down and one of the poles goes over, well, you know, one of your shorties got to stay on side. That happens, I'd say, reasonably frequently.
Yeah, I was saying, Coach, this season has not gone the way that BL had expected it to. It has not been a typical season for them. But there is a lot of talent on that field. A lot of that talent is coming back next year. And I'm assuming a lot of lessons learned that can be applied next year.
Hopefully, from Boys Latin's perspective. But Calvert Hall also has an incredibly young team, I think. You know, they've got 4 or 5 quality seniors, but they have a lot of underclassmen, Schoonmaker, Steer, Hudson right there.
Yeah, depth does not seem
Kelly.
to be a problem for Calvert Hall, and then the rest of the league is going to have to reckon with them for many years to come.
Yeah.
As we're now down to just about 20 seconds left to go here, and it was, I said, it was close for a little while, but Calvert Hall has pulled away as it goes inside to Purdue, and Purdue tried to get one completely open, and Connor, I think, got his hands on that one.
Connor's actually played pretty well in the goal for Boys Latin, I think. He hasn't had a chance on about 4 or 5 of them, but he's played a nice game. But Calvert Hall was a better team today. They showed it particularly in the third quarter when they kind of spread that 4-2 halftime lead out a little bit, outscoring BL that quarter. I think, was it 4-1 or 3-1?
Yeah, I agree, Coach. That was the difference in this game. It was that third quarter, and it was the little things. It was the pressure from Calvert Hall. When the ball hit the ground, they were able to pick it up, and when they got their hands free, their shots were on cage and on target, and that propelled them to a much larger lead and then ultimately to victory.
Well, Calvert Hall, it looks like, I don't know, we don't know the scores in the other games today, but the Calvert Hall Loyola game, the winner of that game will clearly have a bye. As long as Loyola wins today, we don't know, as I said, the other scores, but if they win today, they'll both go into the game with an 8-1 record, and the loser of that game may hold on to the number 2 seed, but the winner obviously will be the number 1 seed.
Well, it was close at first, but ultimately the will and might of Calvert Hall proved to be too much for Boys Latin, as they are going to come out on top today by a score of 9-4. Thanks for watching, and join us again next Tuesday for Severin at St. Mary's.